Charlie Kirk enrages some kind of leftist race hustler college student, makes the guy storm and walk off stage over it. Gets that heated. The guy just gets so triggered. It's kind of funny. Let me just say, I am sick and tired of this race hustling stuff, and I'm sure you guys are too. It's just nonstop in America. You can't hear enough of it, and it's just so exhausting. And one thing I always notice about these race hustling types is that they'll never apply the same standards that they want to put on white people, for example, to themselves without fail. Like, it's just incredible. You know, this is the United Kingdom, but still it applies because it's the West. They have blackout nights now, and I'm sure that'll happen in America too. It's only a matter of time. A blackout night, in case you might have not been unfortunate enough to hear that term yet, so sorry, I'm telling you now, is essentially a night for no whites allowed. Only blacks can go, or people who identify as black, which is kind of funny because what happens if a white person identifies as black? Do they have to respect them like they respect the, you know, the pronouns and all that? I don't know, guys. Lots of questions here, and maybe we're not going to get answers for all of them, and that's okay. With all that in mind, let's go to Charlie Kirk. You're going to see him. He's going to stomp this race hustler, and I think you guys are going to like it. But first, everybody, please make sure you like our video, share it around, and yes, pretty please subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel. That way we can keep bringing you more of these great clips, guys. Who doesn't like seeing a race hustler get told what's up? I know I do. So please go ahead and click that. And for those of you who already have, thank you so much, and we appreciate you returning. As always, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
I just want you to answer this one question. Do you understand that as a white man, you do not have to apologize for being white? You just have to acknowledge the racism that happens around you. That is all.
Doesn't have to do anything.
What racism happens around me?
Let's say that a racist police officer shoots me, right? Kills me, right? For you to be a white man and you see that and don't say anything about it, I believe that my community would be upset about that. Now, all you have to do as a white man, you don't have to get...
Yeah, what if it's a black police officer? Fun fact, and we've had academic studies to help substantiate this, black and minority police officers, other minorities, are more likely to shoot black criminals than white police officers are. Interesting, isn't that? So does that mean the black police officers are more racist to their own people than the white police officers are? Well, apparently it might, according to this guy's logic, but I'm sure he wouldn't acknowledge that if he was pressed on it.
On the internet or on Twitter and say, I'm sorry for being white, but you should at least acknowledge the racism that happens around you.
Okay, well, yeah, if an individual act of racism happens...
That is just taking accountability for what happens around you.
Hold on a second. First of all, I don't have to be accountability for a whole race, do I? Why do I have to be accountable for the white race?
Good question, Charlie. Maybe a good one for Joe Biden, since he and the rest of his lackeys and his administration constantly like to apologize for being white and how racist and terrible it is and blah, blah, blah. Speaking of Biden, his economy sucks, guys, and that's why I have decided to partner with Goldco. Gold, in my opinion, is a great hedge against inflation. And if you look at it historically, the value of gold has gone up as the value of the dollar has gone down. Okay, so it's nothing to sneeze at. What's more, you can roll over any existing IRAs, 401ks, etc., penalty and tax free if you decide to go and purchase some precious metals. So what are you waiting for, guys? Head on down to rtmgold.com. Trust me, you will not regret it. Once again, that's rtmgold.com. You can click the link in the description or type in your web browser. And guys, get this, you can get a free gold kit. That's right, a free gold kit if you go and check it out. So please, guys, go ahead and check it out, rtmgold.com. Trust me on this, you will not regret it.
Right, so if I'm racist, I'll take responsibility for that.
You probably are not racist, but...
Well, thank you. So then why do I have to comment on somebody else's racism?
But what you should do is take accountability for the racism around you. Not pretend that it doesn't happen around you.
So is this guy going to take accountability for African-American, I guess as some call it, criminals who murder at a higher rate than any other race in the nation? Is he going to take accountability for that? It's a rhetorical question, by the way. I'm not saying he should, because that's stupid. Just like it's stupid for him to say to Charlie Kirk that, well, you need to take accountability if a cop shoots a black person. Why? Did Charlie do it? Also, like, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the nuances of it, but let's say we do. What if they justly shoot somebody, black or not? That can happen, you know. There's such a thing as a violent criminal, unarmed or not. They could be armed, they could be unarmed, whatever, attacking a cop and then getting justly killed because they didn't just listen and just get arrested. So, yeah, sorry, not sorry. That's a ridiculous statement, and frankly, he should be ashamed of himself for even suggesting it.
Like, again, the example that I gave you, that if I was shot by a police officer and you found out that person was racist, right? Now,
But why? What you said, take responsibility. How can I take responsibility for somebody else's actions?
What you should do is just take accountability
Exactly.
and say, hey, yes, that was racist, instead of saying, no, that officer wasn't racist.
Well, hold on. You got to show me an instance, an example, but we're
Okay.
talking about such a micro problem that doesn't exist. Do you know that a black person is 18 and a half times more likely to shoot and kill a police officer than a police officer is to go and shoot an unarmed black man?
But is that the question that I asked you?
No, you asked a hypothetical about if I'm going to take accountability for a racist police officer. But I mean, you understand?
This kid's dealing in hypotheticals. Charlie Kirk is dealing in facts. Simple as that.
If I inverted it on you, would you take accountability for all the black police in America?
That was funny.
No, would you? Why don't you take accountability for all the black police in New York?
I wouldn't take accountability for it, but what I would say is, yes, there are a lot of black people in my community who do dumb things to other black people and to other white people. What I would not do is just pretend that it doesn't happen, so that, like I said, you as a white man has to do the same thing.
It's funny, for all this complaining we have about racism, especially, racism against blacks from whites that we hear about nonstop in the media, you notice how nearly all the examples of it are either just totally taken out of context or even just fraudulent or a hoax. Anyway, and that's not an edgy or controversial thing for me to say, frankly. If you look into the facts of the case and you're a rational person with a brain, you'll come to the same conclusion. I guarantee it. And some are just flat out hoaxes. Things that come to mind, Bubba Wallace. Remember him? He had the rope pulley on a truck, on a garage truck at NASCAR, and he said it was a noose. No, dude, it was literally just a rope for the garage to put the car in. The same one everyone has. And then the FBI went and investigated it for a hate crime. And how about Jussie Smollett, or as I like to call him, Juicy Smollett? Yeah, remember when he had this whole ridiculous made-up story about how he got attacked? He was going to Subway for some reason at 2 a.m., even though it was closed. He was getting a sandwich at Subway, because that makes sense. In Chicago. And then two racist white hillbilly MAGA hicks came out and said, F you, N-word, this is MAGA country, and stomped him and tied a noose on his neck and all this stuff. And it was obviously a fake story when it was told, and people pointed that out. And then you had people on CNN like Don Lemon who were like, oh, how dare you question the victim? Oh, you guys are all a bunch of racists. Then it was proven a hoax later, and he had to pay damages in court because of it. Right, yeah. That was one of the most prolific racist incidents in recent American history, according to the media at the time, and it was all a hoax. If we're gonna talk about accountability, how about we start taking some accountability for that? How about that one, Chief?
I also acknowledge it's rarer than lightning striking you when you're outside.
That's it.
But let me ask you, who is Tony Timpa?
That's all I wanted you to do. Thank you.
I acknowledge it's rare, and I'm not gonna have to take responsibility for an entire race at all. It's wrong and it's terrible. I wish we could have continued the conversation. Hello, how are you?
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked, what you want to see next. And we'll see you guys again very soon, I am sure. Thanks, and God bless.